My husband's celebrity crush got pregnant after a dinner party. Ignoring my own pregnancy, he moved into her place to take care of her. Then, on the day I gave birth, he slapped me with divorce papers. Chelsea is a famous relationship guru. She can't have scandals. I have to give her and the baby a legitimate status. I trembled as I wrote my name, enduring the tearing pain down below. In my previous life, I had thrown a fit and refused to divorce, even taking the baby to Chelsea Green's company. As a result, on the day she gave birth, her rival exposed her as an unwed mother. Chelsea Green was cyberbullied into severe depression and ultimately jumped from the company rooftop with her baby. Richard Thompson silently handled the funeral arrangements and comforted me, telling me not to feel guilty. But on our daughter's 100-day milestone celebration, he set the house on fire, watching indifferently as my daughter and I were burned alive. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day I gave birth. This time, I immediately let go and relinquished my position. Seeing me sign, Richard Thompson breathed a sigh of relief and said with fake politeness, "Even though we're divorced, you can still come to me if you need anything." I smiled mockingly. "Actually, there is something I need your help with." His face instantly turned cold. "Susan Snow, are you deliberately trying to cause trouble?" I looked at him calmly. "I just want you to get a birth certificate for the baby." A look of embarrassment flashed across Richard Thompson's face, and he mumbled an acknowledgement before walking out. Soon after, he returned with the birth certificate and casually handed me a card. "Until Lily is 18, I'll deposit $1,200 into this card each month for child support." I looked down at him. His suit had baby spit up on it. Yet, after our own children were born, he hadn't even glanced at them. I instantly realized that the $1,200 a month was Chelsea Green's idea. He had just come from her. I looked away and readily agreed, wanting nothing more than to sever ties with him as soon as possible. Richard Thompson didn't expect me to agree so readily. He pursed his lips and looked at me a few times before leaving. I didn't react, picking up Lily to feed her. Soon after, a nurse came into the room with a delicate gold pendant. "This is a gift from the new father next door to celebrate the birth of his precious daughter. This one is for Lily." Although I knew the truth, I still asked, "Who's the mother next door?" Thinking I wanted to know who to thank, the nurse happily pulled out a recently taken photo to show me. Richard Thompson was smiling at the camera, holding Chelsea Green and her baby, who was wearing a large, solid gold pendant. I laughed out loud. What a great father he was. After thanking her, I placed the gold pendant next to Lily's swaddling clothes. The next second, a plain-looking woman rushed in and snatched the gold pendant away. "What are you doing?" Her movements were so fast that they startled Lily, making her cry. "This is mine." The woman glared at me and muttered under her breath, "If I had known the woman I was taking care of was so promiscuous, I wouldn't have come for any amount of money." Bad luck. "What did you say?" "Say it again." Our argument attracted Richard Thompson's assistant. He shielded the woman behind him. "Miss Snow, I'm sorry. This is Ms. Green's nanny. The gold pendant was indeed given to the wrong baby. We'll take it back." Hearing his form of address, I sneered again. Newly divorced, and he immediately changed how he addressed me. "Since she's with her, then you tell me, what do you mean by calling me promiscuous?" The assistant glanced at me and held up a phone with a news article on it. "Thompson Corporation CEO cheated on ex-wife promiscuous, plotting to seize power with child." I gripped the phone tightly and looked up at him. He immediately averted his gaze, snatched the phone away, and pushed the nanny out the door. I wanted to chase after them, but Lily wouldn't stop crying. I had a splitting headache and quickly called the nanny I had booked long ago. "Ms. Jones, when can you start? I've already given birth, and I need you to take care of the baby." But the voice on the other end was very familiar. "I wouldn't serve a slut like you." The phone hung up, and I was stunned. It turned out that the nanny just now was the one I had hired. I called the postpartum care center to demand an explanation. Their attitude was completely different from before, implying that their center was reputable and wouldn't serve anyone disreputable. The phone hung up again. Lily was still crying incessantly, and my heart sank to the bottom. The next second, my phone vibrated again. I opened it, and a message from my brother popped up. "Snow, Mom and Dad forgive you. Bring them home with you." From a young age, my parents had planned out my entire life. Although I had lived smoothly for 20 years, I felt a lot of pressure. Finally, after graduating from college, I couldn't bear the pressure and chose to leave home. My parents were so angry that they cut me off. Later, after meeting Richard Thompson, I felt that my decision to leave home was right. But I didn't expect that he would be my hell. Now that I had been reborn, my relationship with my parents was about to thaw, and good days were beckoning me. Just then, a nurse barged in with security guards and started throwing my belongings into a sack without a word. "What are you doing?" "I've paid." "Paid? You haven't settled the bill for giving birth yet. If it weren't for Mr. Thompson's reputation, the hospital wouldn't have let you use the expensive facilities or agreed to let you give birth first and pay later. What are you wasting time talking to her for? Throw her out." On receiving the order, the security guards rushed up to grab me. Lily was terrified and was crying so hard she was almost passing out. My eyes burned with heartache, and I pleaded, "I'll pay now. Please call a doctor to check on the baby." The nurse didn't listen at all, pushing me out with all her might. When Richard Thompson appeared at the door, I thought my savior had arrived. I rushed towards him with the baby. "Please, get a doctor to check on Lily." Richard Thompson pushed me away impatiently and glanced at her reluctantly. "She's still breathing. Stop talking nonsense and move out. This room is already occupied. Don't even think about taking advantage." The security guards threw me and the sack outside. Richard Thompson ignored me, escorting Chelsea Green and her baby into an SUV and driving off. After a few minutes, I took a taxi to the postpartum care center. But I was stopped at the entrance. "We don't have leftovers here. Leave quickly." I looked down and saw that I was dirty and disheveled, looking like a beggar. Just as I was about to explain that I was a client here, Chelsea Green's voice came from behind me. "Susan? Is that really you? Are you here for postpartum recovery too?" She affectionately took my arm. "Great, then we can be neighbors." Without giving me a chance to speak, she dragged me towards her room. I froze at the door. This was the room I had reserved. Seeing my stunned expression, she covered her mouth and giggled. "Richard said this room was good and specially reserved it for me in advance." The door opened, and Richard Thompson came out, looking concerned as he held her up. "Why did you come out? You're going to worry me to death." "I'm fine. Susan is here too." Only then did he notice me. "You're so dirty. Don't spread germs to Chelsea." "Get out." "Richard, don't be like that." "Susan, don't mind him. He's just too concerned about me. If you don't have anywhere to stay, you can share a room with me." I held on to Lily tightly as she dragged me inside. Richard Thompson pursed his lips and didn't say anything. I thought he had a pang of conscience, but he set up a bed for me in the bathroom. When I was feeding the baby, he didn't care that the cleaner was a man and let him come in directly. When Lily cried nonstop in the evening, he came in to scold her, then dragged me in front of Chelsea Green's bed and ordered me to feed her. Chelsea Green said on the surface that she couldn't possibly trouble Susan, but her eyes were full of disdain. Seeing that I was unwilling, Richard Thompson threw a stack of money in my face. "I'm not letting you work for nothing." A sense of shame welled up inside me. I picked up the money, picked up the bowl of soup, and fed it to Chelsea Green's mouth. But she didn't even open her mouth, deliberately knocking the bowl of soup onto my chest and fake crying, "It's so hot." Richard Thompson pushed me away, picked up a glass of ice water, and held it to her lips. Then, he reprimanded me with a dark face, "Susan Snow, are you trying to die?" My lower back hit the cabinet, and I couldn't get up from the pain. My voice trembling, I pointed to the ice water on the table. "She just gave birth. Why would there be ice water on the table? Have you even thought about that, Richard Thompson?" Chelsea Green's eyes instantly turned red, and she hid under the covers without saying a word. Richard Thompson frowned and headed straight for the bathroom with the bowl of soup. I was shocked and followed him in, rescuing Lily from his hands as she cried nonstop. "Richard Thompson, are you even human? She's your daughter." I wanted to escape from here with Lily, but Richard Thompson grabbed me. He drove me back to the Hilltop estate and locked me in the dark basement. "You're stubborn, huh? Reflect on your actions. Richard Thompson, let me out. I know I was wrong. I have claustrophobia." "That's what I intended." He sneered, kicked me back into the basement, and locked the door. Lily's voice was already hoarse from crying, and I didn't have the strength to soothe her. I hugged myself and squatted in the corner, enduring waves of suffocating fear. I don't know how long this despair lasted, but the door opened. I was exhausted, and my vision was blurring. I could only reach out to the person with all my strength and beg, "Save me." A warm hand enveloped mine. I thought I was saved, but the next second, I felt a chill, and I heard the sound of fabric tearing. Soon after, the light disappeared, and the door was closed again. I passed out completely. I was awakened by ice water, and when I opened my eyes, I was still in the basement. My clothes had been stripped off, and a naked homeless man was lying next to me. "Ah!" I exclaimed and scrambled backward, clutching my chest. Richard Thompson's eyes swept over the bloodstains on the ground, finally landing on me. Well, even like this, you still managed to cheat on me." Tears welled up in my eyes, and I bit my lip in humiliation, loudly protesting, "I didn't." Chelsea Green, dressed neatly and cleanly, linked her arm through his and covered her mouth to look at me. "Richard, I think there must be some misunderstanding." "Misunderstanding? The evidence is conclusive. If it weren't for Chelsea's kindness, worrying that something might have happened to you and insisting on coming to see you, I wouldn't have known you were so capable." Richard Thompson became angrier and angrier, kicking me in the chest. "Throw her out of the Thompson family home. Don't defile the Thompson family." The bodyguards dragged me out of the Thompson family home like a dead dog. I desperately tried to protect myself, crying out, "I didn't do it. Don't touch me. Lily, Lily." Lily was also thrown out of the Thompson family home. My heart jumped to my throat, and I did my best to catch her. Tears welled up in my eyes, and I hugged her tightly. "Lily, Mommy's sorry." In the end, a maid couldn't bear to watch and secretly gave me a set of clothes. I had nowhere to go, so I could only leave the Hilltop estate before sunset. Late at night, on the winding mountain road lit only by the starry sky, car lights suddenly appeared. I shouted excitedly, trying to hitch a ride down the mountain. The car stopped in front of me, and Chelsea Green stepped out from the back seat with a smile. "Sister, you've really made me search for you." I felt a surge of fear and retreated, trying to run away. "Susan Snow, I have no grievances with you. Why must you make things difficult for me? Just because you stole the Mrs. Thompson position that belonged to me." I couldn't agree with that. Because of my parents' strict upbringing, I was very sensitive to things that could make money. I chose Richard Thompson's company and invested all my savings, helping him gain a foothold in New York City. Over time, we naturally fell in love and got married. Who knew that good times wouldn't last long, and Chelsea Green would appear? She smiled and took out a lipstick taser, which crackled with sparks. Susan Snow, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have been drugged and raped by another man. Go die! She raised the taser to Lily, and I exclaimed, dodging and letting the taser shock me. The next second, she dropped the taser and fell to the ground. At the same time, a car screeched to a halt, and Richard Thompson kicked open the car door and rushed out. Susan Snow, are you looking for death? Chelsea Green's ankle was swollen high, and she fell into his arms, looking pitiful. I was just afraid that Miss Snow would be in danger leaving alone. I didn't expect. Her half-spoken words successfully fueled the man's anger. He picked up the lipstick taser on the ground and aimed it directly at my face. Chelsea still has to work on camera. Are you trying to ruin her before you're satisfied? Lily's voice was already hoarse from crying, and I soothed her, not caring about the pain. Richard Thompson, I'm also a mother. How could I do that to others? You're just evil by nature. He made a final judgment, and I was powerless to refute. Come with me to the hose pit. If anything happens to Chelsea, I'll make you pay with what you care about most. His eyes swept over Lily, and I hugged her in panic, shouting, she's your own daughter, Richard Thompson, you're not human. I wanted to escape, but 7 or 8 bodyguards got out of the SUV and pinned me down, snatching Lily away. At the hospital, Lily was left on the cold floor, and I was closely guarded by the bodyguards and couldn't get close to her. I knelt down and begged them to let me see my child, but no one paid attention to me. Just as I was in despair, a cool and sassy beauty walked out of the elevator. She beat up the bodyguards in a few moves and handed Lily to me. I thanked her through tears. The bodyguards bared their teeth and surrounded us, but she immediately shielded me behind her. If you're not convinced, I can spar with you again, but I'm in charge of this lady and her child today. The bodyguards exchanged glances, and finally someone went to report to Richard Thompson. When he rushed over after hearing the news, I was already running out of the hospital with Lily in my arms. He chased after me and slapped me. Seeing me fall, he picked up the taser and aimed it directly at my temple. Bitch, dare to run. Where's your helper? I was crying so hard that I couldn't speak and shook my head desperately. Chelsea Green followed, her eyes instantly turning red when she saw me. Miss Snow, I didn't mean to blame you. I just wanted an apology. Won't you even give me that? As soon as her face appeared on the street, it instantly attracted many fans. Everyone gathered around and took pictures of her. Chelsea, I'm your #1 fan. I love you so much. Ms. Green, you're so beautiful. Chelsea Green dodged the camera uncomfortably, which was noticed by a sharp-eyed fan. I just heard Ms. Green say that this woman owes her an apology. Those words instantly caused everyone to look at me, with eyes that seemed to want to tear me apart. I desperately dodged the camera, protecting Lily tightly in my arms. Still trying to hide. Apologize. I recognize her. She's that adulteress from Thompson Corporation. She stole Chelsea's lover and doesn't even appreciate it. Hearing this, those brainless fans became enraged and approached me, forcing me to fall. Afraid of Lily getting hurt, my face turned pale as I knelt on the ground and begged, please don't hurt my child. Richard Thompson walked behind me at some point, grabbing my shoulders, his voice so cold that I trembled. Take this opportunity to say that you were the one who cheated, and you were the one who bullied Chelsea. His hand brushed over me and landed on Lily's soft face. I turned to meet his mocking eyes. I closed my eyes, letting my tears flow freely. Okay. I was forced to kneel in front of Chelsea Green, clarifying and admitting my mistakes in front of her many fans' cameras. Only when my voice was hoarse did they let me go. I fell to the ground, and Richard Thompson threw the phone and divorce certificate in my face. I'll let you off today, but if Chelsea has any discomfort, I'll come back and settle the score with you. He kicked me away and escorted Chelsea Green into the SUV. I then took Lily to the airport. My brother's phone kept going to voicemail. I had no identification on me except for my phone. My phone balance was low, and I had no choice but to find a relatively quiet place to feed Lily first. I thought that if I could get in touch with my brother, I could go home. I didn't expect Chelsea Green to spend so much money wanting Lily and me to die in New York City. As the relationship guru with the most fans, the first thing she did after announcing her comeback was to rent all the LED billboards in New York City and play my apology video on a loop. As a result, wherever I appeared, I would be attacked by her fans. Some of her obsessive male fans even disregarded public order and took up weapons, wanting to kill me. I hid everywhere with Lily, hiding in a truck trailer by the roadside, not daring to breathe loudly, my heart pounding. The male fan was slashing everywhere in the greenery with a knife, his voice like Satan from hell. Don't hide, I see you. Come out and play with me. I was so scared that I broke out in a cold sweat, not daring to make a sound. The male fan's heavy breathing grew closer and closer. He was right outside the truck, just a few more steps and he could find me. My heart was about to jump out of my throat, and I prayed that Lily wouldn't cry out at this moment. Still hiding? I'll kill you when I find you. Suddenly, he stopped in front of the truck door, and a face with only one eye pressed against the crack, looking inside. The next second, the corners of his lips curled up, revealing a mouthful of yellow teeth. Found you. Get away! The door opened, and the man crawled in with a twisted expression. I screamed desperately. But the truck started at that moment, and he fell down due to inertia. I was still in shock until the truck drove into a warehouse, and I finally calmed down. Hey, miss, what are you doing here? The cool and sassy beauty who had saved me earlier was standing outside the truck, looking at me with confusion. I stuttered, and she smiled and helped me down, taking me into the lounge and pouring me a glass of warm water. It's okay, you're safe here with me. I was still trembling as I took the water and thanked her. Don't worry, my name is Wendy. My place is very safe. You rest first. Thank you, Ms. Wen. She nodded and went out to work. I repeatedly called my brother from the lounge, but the line was always busy. Feeling more and more uneasy, Wendy came in. She brought me food and found a professional nanny to look after Lily. I was very grateful, and the long-lost kindness brought tears to my eyes. You're welcome. We're all girls. It's just a small thing. While chatting with her, I learned that she was so helpful because of her boyfriend's family values. I heard Stanley say that because a sister of his ran away from home and they haven't heard from her, they're afraid their daughter will be bullied, so they do more good deeds to bring her good fortune. I was touched and exchanged contact information with Wendy, wanting to repay her in the future. Wendy was surprised to hear that my home was in San Francisco. I'm flying to San Francisco tonight. Let's go together. Don't worry about being found. It's a private plane. I was overjoyed. Lily looked at me and smiled, giggling. Wendy picked her up, smiling. So cute. That night, we boarded a private plane to San Francisco. As we were chatting happily, her assistant handed her a phone with my apology video on it. The internet was flooded with Susan Snow's apology video, and Chelsea Green's fanbase had grown exponentially because of this. But Thomson Corporation lost many projects because of the scandal, and some executives protested. President Snow is decisive, and we trust her character. Chelsea Green, on the other hand, is insincere and has repeatedly come to the company to provoke President Snow. We hope that President Thompson will investigate thoroughly and give us an explanation. Otherwise, don't blame us for withdrawing our investment despite our years of friendship. Only then did Richard Thompson begin to pay attention to the rumors online. He called in his assistant and learned that this publicity was not bought by their people, so it could only be Chelsea Green. But he had already made it clear that he would not pursue the matter, so why did Chelsea Green still want to go to such lengths? As he was wondering, Chelsea Green sashayed in. "Richard, what do you think? Does this limited edition Chanel dress suit me better?" She showed off her figure from all angles. But Richard Thompson was in no mood to admire her. Just as he was about to say a few perfunctory words, he noticed that the dress was the birthday gift he had given to Susan Snow. "Who told you to touch her things?" Chelsea Green was stunned and immediately began to tear up. Richard Thompson was a little annoyed. The doctor said that her ankle was badly swollen and she couldn't put any weight on it for a month. The way she was spinning around didn't look sick. "Chelsea Green, how much are you hiding from me? What's really wrong with your ankle?" Chelsea Green, who was about to approach him, stopped at those words. She avoided his gaze and finally said, Isn't it all because I love you too much and care about you too much?" As expected of a popular influencer, her tears came on cue. Chelsea Green didn't want him to investigate any further, so she ran over and sat on his lap, wrapping her arms around his neck and acting coy. "Richard, you're too sensitive. Susan Snow is already gone. Don't ruin things with me over that venomous woman, okay?" Richard Thompson stared at her, his eyes full of confusion. It wasn't because of Susan Snow that he was having a bad time with her, but he just didn't understand why she was lying to him. Chelsea Green had long known his feelings for her. She was the one who told Richard Thompson, "We're not right for each other. I have someone else in my heart. Stop pestering me." Richard Thompson obediently stopped pestering her, only silently pouring money into helping her become the hottest influencer. But then Chelsea Green suddenly disappeared, only to reappear and tell him that she had been bullied, was pregnant, and didn't want to live anymore. Richard Thompson couldn't let her go, so he abandoned Susan Snow, who was also pregnant, and moved into her home to take care of her. He even divorced Susan Snow after she gave birth, just to give her a legitimate status. He had done so much, so what couldn't Chelsea Green tell him openly? "Were you the one who attacked me with hateful comments and revealed that Susan Snow was the one who interfered in our relationship and took over?" Chelsea Green was shocked and stood up from his lap. "RD, how can you think of me like that? I don't know what you're talking about." Just as Richard Thompson was about to delve deeper, a phone call interrupted their conversation. Chelsea Green took the opportunity to make an excuse and scurried away. Richard Thompson hung up the phone and pressed the intercom. The assistant came in, and he ordered, "Go check the specific source of the online publicity, as well as the authenticity of the surveillance footage at home." That day in the basement, Chelsea Green used the surveillance footage to confirm that Susan Snow had cheated. That's why he was so angry. Now it seemed that there was more to it than meets the eye. Chelsea Green panicked and ran out of Thompson Corporation in one breath, getting into her fancy sports car. She punched the steering wheel, snarling, "Damn Susan Snow, even after you're gone, you won't let me have peace." Thinking of Richard Thompson's ferocious expression just now, she knew that the consequences of deceiving him would not be good. She quickly picked up the phone and dialed. "Erase all the trending topics, remember to erase them all." Then, she called the nanny surnamed Zhao. "I've already transferred $1 million into your account. Take the money and run, as far as you can." After doing all this, she still felt uneasy and drove directly to the computer mall. But as soon as she got out of the car, she saw Richard Thompson's car parked at the entrance of the computer mall as well. Chelsea Green didn't care about anything else, she just wanted to get him away as soon as possible. If he went inside, her fate today would be terrible. "Richard, what are you doing here? My ankle hurts so much, will you take me to the hospital?" Chelsea Green hugged Richard Thompson like she had no bones. Richard Thompson frowned and pushed her away coldly. Didn't you drive here yourself? And now it hurts? It really hurts. Don't be mad at me. Chelsea Green followed him inside, shedding tears as she walked. Richard D. Thompson looked at her with a dark face. Okay, I'll take you to the hospital after I take care of something. As he said that, Richard Thompson's phone rang. He turned on the speakerphone. President Thompson, the video has been restored. The footage was indeed synthesized using AI. Are you coming to see it in person, or should I send it to you? Chelsea Green's heart skipped a beat, knowing that she was about to be finished. My ankle doesn't hurt that much anymore. Right, I have a live stream today. I have to go back and get ready. Where do you think you're going? Come inside with me. I'll personally take you back. Richard Thompson grabbed her collar and dragged her inside. Chelsea Green resisted desperately, losing all pretense of being a lady. I'm not going. Richard Thompson, you can't treat me like this. But it was too late. Richard Thompson had already seen the full picture of the surveillance footage. Everything was directed by Chelsea Green. Susan Snow weakly resisted, but Chelsea Green slapped her several times. The homeless man was also unconscious when she threw him in. Richard Thompson laughed in anger. Chelsea Green, do you have anything to explain? Chelsea Green stubbornly retorted, Susan Snow cheated on you, she deserved it. You're still being stubborn at this point. Richard Thompson dragged her out of the computer mall and into his car. He drove all the way to the train station before stopping. The nanny was tied up in the back of a van, next to a green-haired punk who'd wet his pants in terror. Chelsea Green's legs went weak at the sight of them. I confessed everything. I took Chelsea Green's money to post slanderous comments online about Mrs. Thompson. Please, let me go. The nanny wailed. I did give Richard Thompson's baby a large dose of sleeping pills, but nothing happened, did it? Please, let me go. I was forced to do it. Richard Thompson threw her into the van as well, sneering. What do you have to say for yourself now? Seeing that she still wanted to argue, Richard Thompson's face instantly darkened. He grabbed her neck and gritted his teeth. Lily is so young. What deep hatred do you have for her? She's my own daughter. I planned to go straight home once I arrived in San Francisco. But on the plane, I passed out. Subconsciously, I realized I was finally safe, so the fright and exhaustion of the past few days overwhelmed me. My body couldn't take it anymore, and I collapsed. Wendy was terrified and rushed me to the hospital, even hiring 3 professional nannies to take care of Lily. I woke up a week later. The first thing I saw was the sterile white of a hospital room. Lily wasn't by my side, and I was so scared I almost jumped out of bed. Finally, Lily's crying pulled me back from my anxiety. The nanny told me Wendy was busy and would come to see me in the evening. Although I was awake, I was very weak because I hadn't gone through postpartum recovery. The nanny personally made chicken soup for me and fed it to me. The long-lost warmth almost brought me to tears several times. It was something I had never experienced after marrying Richard Thompson. Silly child, what are you crying about? Good days are ahead once you get through the tough times. The nanny wiped away my tears. Although she didn't know what had happened to me, she could tell from my pale face that I had suffered a lot. I was so grateful and secretly resolved to repay those who had been good to me when I got home. In the evening, Wendy came, and I had regained some strength. We're in San Francisco now. Still no word from your family? I shook my head. I've been away from home for many years, and everyone's contact information has changed. My family used to live in San Francisco, but my parents and brother have long wanted to immigrate. I didn't know what had happened to my brother, and I felt particularly anxious. Wendy comforted me. Don't worry, my boyfriend's job is special, and I can't always reach him. Either. He'll contact me when he can get online. I'm sure your family is the same. I hope so. The next morning, Wendy took me to my family's original address. The house had been demolished and turned into a commercial district. Wendy felt a little guilty. I'm so sorry. Although I have business in San Francisco, I've never been here before. I can't help you much. Don't say that. You've already helped me a lot. Just as we were about to leave, I turned around and bumped into a familiar embrace. Susan Snow, I've finally found you. Richard Thompson looked haggard and wanted to hug me tightly. I pushed him away with my arms, my face cold. Who are you? I'll call the police. Susan Snow? Richard Thompson looked at me with a hurt expression. Don't be like this. I came all the way to take you and Lily home. Whose home? What home? Oh, you mean the home you share with that big shot streamer, Chelsea Green? What do you want me to do if I go back? Be a slave and a nanny? I pressed him, leaving Richard Thompson dumbfounded. He opened his mouth in surprise, then looked at me with disbelief. Susan Snow, has something happened to Lily? I slapped his hand away and sneered, what a great father, almost letting his daughter die and still has the nerve to ask if something happened to her. How ironic. Richard Thompson looked pained and licked his dry lips. I was wrong about what happened before. I naively believed Chelsea Green. I've now found out all the truth and made Chelsea Green pay the price. Come home with me. Impossible. I was so emotional that Richard Thompson took a step back. But just as I turned to leave, he followed closely and grabbed my arm tightly. Let go. She doesn't want to go with you. Do you not understand human language? Wendy delivered a sweeping kick, and Richard Thompson dodged it nimbly. Then he roared at Wendy. Who the hell are you? What right do you have to interfere? I stood in front of Wendy, making my position clear. You're the outsider. We're divorced. I'm warning you to get lost, or you'll face the consequences. Richard Thompson thought I was afraid he would hurt Wendy, cracked his knuckles, and provoked her. So tough, now you're hiding behind Susan Snow. If you weren't a woman. Wendy pushed me aside and kicked Richard Thompson to the ground. Richard Thompson struggled to get up, but Wendy stepped on his chest with her stiletto heel, looking down at him condescendingly. Trash. Wendy pulled me back, and Richard Thompson chased after us again. Susan Snow, don't go. Let's talk properly. But before he could get close to me, he let out a scream. I subconsciously turned back, and instantly my face lit up. Brother! Stanley Smith also ran towards me and hugged me tightly. Sue, I've finally found you. Wendy was stunned. Stanley Smith is your brother? Aren't you a Snow? I wiped away my tears and explained, no, my surname is Smith. Snow is the surname I changed myself after I left home. Behind us, Richard Thompson was held down by 4 bodyguards, shouting incessantly, Brother-in-law, I'm Susan Snow's husband, we're family, let me go. Stanley Smith's eyes flashed with ruthlessness, and he ordered the bodyguards to take him away with us. On the way, I learned that Wendy was actually my future sister-in-law. Before I could be surprised, my brother said, the reason I disappeared during this time was because Richard Thompson's people were after me. Seeing that Wendy and I both turned pale, my brother continued to explain, the chip I was developing some time ago had a defect. I originally wanted to destroy it, but someone under me leaked the news, and Richard Thompson found me and wanted to buy it out. I refused, and that night I was almost assassinated. Later, I investigated and found out that he was colluding with overseas criminal gangs to package and rent out the chip for profit. I was afraid something would happen to Mom and Dad, so I had them go into hiding. Today was the NOI chance I had to catch Richard Thompson because I received information that he was in San Francisco alone. After hearing this, I felt a chill all over my body. Looking at the van behind us through the rear window, I shuddered to think that I had lived with such a thug for so many years. Stanley Smith took us to the Hilltop estate, where my parents were waiting. Seeing them again, I hugged them and cried, apologizing. Their eyes were also red, and they kept saying that they shouldn't have been so strict with me back then. Lily was brought back from the hospital. My parents held her and doted on her, not only giving Lily a large gift card but also preparing a supersized gold pendant for her. The best room in the house was also turned into Lily's princess room. My mother saw me pouting and about to cry, knowing that I had misunderstood that they had immigrated. Silly child, how could we leave San Francisco? We've been waiting for you to come home. The family sat together and talked for a long time. It wasn't until my mother asked about Richard Thompson that everyone fell silent. At the same time, Richard Thompson broke through the bodyguard's defenses and rushed in front of me. Susan Snow, I really didn't know they were your family. I know I was wrong. Lily can't be without a father. Please, help me plead for mercy. I looked at him coldly, without reacting. Richard Thompson was so anxious that tears streamed down his face, and his body was trembling. Susan Snow, didn't you love me very much? I've crippled Chelsea Green, and she won't be a threat to you anymore. From now on, my world will only have you and Lily. Please, help me. Glancing at the bodyguard standing a few feet away, I sneered, Richard Thompson, are you sure you're sincerely apologizing to me? I raised my chin. You're only pretending to submit because you see that they're too strong and you can't handle them alone. I don't believe that a thoroughly evil person would suddenly turn over a new leaf. A vicious light flashed in Richard Thompson's eyes, and the next second he immediately put on a sincere expression. Susan Snow, you can't think of me that way. My heart is only filled with you and Lily, I swear to God. As he spoke, he dropped to his knees with a thud. If you don't believe me, we'll remarry. Let me use the rest of my life to prove my love for you. My brother couldn't stand it anymore and kicked him away. If you want to repent, go repent in prison. Take him away. Send him to the police station. Susan Snow, Susan Snow, Susan Snow, you can't do this to me. I'm Lily's father. Richard Thompson lost it, flailing his arms and trying to break free from the bodyguards. After that day, my brother acted swiftly and decisively, not only exposing the dark side of Thompson Corporation, causing it to go bankrupt, but also exposing Chelsea Green's black material of trading resources with big shots. The internet exploded, and netizens from all walks of life stepped in to denounce these hypocritical scoundrels. The fanatical male fans of Chelsea Green who had attacked me some time ago were sent to prison for stalking a girl and attempted indecent assault. For a time, everyone who had ever hurt me received their due retribution. On the day Richard Thompson was sentenced, I went to court in formal attire. He lost control the moment he saw me. Susan Snow, I knew you couldn't bear to see me suffer. Quickly find the best lawyer to get me out. The bailiffs warned him without success and pinned him to the ground. It was all over, and he was still delusional that I could save him. I sneered, Richard Thompson, you reap what you sow. Just go to prison and enjoy the rest of your life. Richard Thompson looked pained, and his lips were bitten until they lost their color. His voice was hoarse, and he kept muttering, you can't do this to me. I didn't stay any longer and turned to walk towards my family. From now on, every day that greets me will be a new life.